countywide polling place program.
Senator Whitmire, did you wish to speak on third reading on this bill? You spoke before. I didn't know if you wished.
Just briefly.
You're recognized.
Thank you. I want to make sure my record is very clear because I have served when we did not have countywide voting, and now we do. And I understand there's some issues in Harris County. I haven't ever heard that this was one. I do know some of my friends would say that, well, this only applies to election day, and folks have 2 weeks prior to that to do it countywide. But I don't believe this fixes the harm that I see because of the hardship and impossibility sometimes of traveling across Harris County or other counties when you can't plan your agenda like some folks are as organized. If you live in Katy, Texas and work in the Med Center, there's no way it's going to be possible to a last minute need to get back home in your precinct to vote. So I want to be very clear on the record because I think it's going to be very unpopular. I'm afraid this has turned into a partisan issue, which it shouldn't be. I hate to be a political consultant for the Democrats or the Republicans here on the Senate floor, but I'm just telling you, in a urban setting, so many of the suburban voters are Republican. To get back to Clear Lake, Kingwood, Baytown, I think we're creating an impossibility that will not suppress votes as much as perhaps interfere with votes. And so I'm only speaking to make sure my record's real clear, and I would suggest people that represent areas like Pearland with its explosion of population and traffic that work in the Med Center, you're really going to hear from those folks. It's my opinion, you're creating a really political issue for folks that have become accustomed to voting either at the courthouse downtown or a county courthouse annex, and now we're going to prohibit that practice. So I'm just speaking to make my record very clear, and I would suggest to members that you ought to think about your district and how convenient countywide, and I understand, Senator Hall, you've made it real clear, it's not about convenience, it's about security, but I don't know where the vote is cast really has that much to do with the ability to audit that vote, so show me voting no.
Senator Eckhart, what purpose?
To speak briefly on the bill.
You're recognized.
I just want to appeal to all of my colleagues. I know that you know the convenience of countywide polling locations. I know that you must be aware that if this bill actually becomes law, that means that a system requiring precinct-level polling locations on election day means that you will not have you won't have polling locations that are uniformly available to disabled folk. You know that one polling location may flood and then you're stuck without a polling location in that precinct. You know that you're going to have individuals who leave their neighborhood early in the morning to go to work and will not be able to get back to their neighborhood polling location to vote during the time period that it's open. You know that this is not a good bill. And so I would just hope that y'all would consider precinct-based voting would require the number of election day sites to nearly double in some counties at a significant cost. It would create significant challenges for disabled folk, and also it would likely eliminate certain polling locations because of things that we cannot predict. That with a county-wide voting location gives our voters an alternative if for any reason their local polling location is inconvenient or is no longer available to them. And that's all I have to say. This is it, when your voters are calling saying what happened to the convenience that you very carefully piloted and rolled out in a measured way over a number of years. Why did you get rid of it? I wonder what your answer will be.
Check. Senator Hall, you recognize final passage.
So moved, Mr. President.
Secretary will call the roll.
Alvarado, Betancourt, Nova, Blanco.
17 ayes, 12 nays. The bill is finally passed.